Good morning, everyone. This is Melody Reels at the Iowa Quilt Museum here in Winterset, Iowa, 9-ish a.m. on a Thursday morning for our Thursday morning Facebook Lives. I want to get to our exhibit. I want to get to our two quilts, one quilt artist. Like always, a couple of announcements. First, I'm going to thank Barb Onan. She is the winner of the February giveaway. If you didn't see our Facebook Live on Sunday, Marianne Fawns and I did a Facebook Live of the drawing for Lindsay McCrae's feed sack book, a jelly roll of her fabric, and book darts from Quilt Folk. And she won all three of those. Marianne drew her name. She won all three of those. And we announced the March giveaway. So let me get out. So you see our new bags. You could buy these online. These are our new bags. So in my new bag, this is March's giveaway. I was having in here, it's a green bag for March, green for March. There is, you will get a vintage magazine. You will get a book on quilting, possibly. You will get quilt patterns or a couple of them. You'll get maybe a special treat. You might get and you'll get an IQM item, whether Iowa Quilt Museum souvenir item, whether that's a pencil, a pen, a sticker, a lapel pin, but it'll be a combination. What is in here? Look, here's a pencil. So that's March's giveaway. What I was gonna say was, I was having people email me to get one. Well, that was crazy. That was foolish of me because my emails were inundated with giveaways. So that got kind of out of hand. So now, if you would like to get one, go to our shop, our Iowa Quilt Museum. You go to iowaquiltmuseum.org, click shop, and it'll be one of the first items that you'll see on the website next to the January giveaway, and you can get one there. It is free online, but to post it there, I did have to charge a shipping, so I reduced the $9 shipping down to $5 shipping. So I was able to reduce the shipping, so I apologize for that. If you got one earlier, congratulations. If you didn't get one earlier and you're just hearing about it, it will be a $5 donation for the shipping, but you get a plethora of goodies, and it'll be a surprise. And so that is March giveaway. And you saw our bag. These are new in the store, IQM, and they have little, it looks like an orange peel pattern on the side. Anyway, you can also get those online or in the gift shop when you come. And we still do have posters from January's giveaway. We do have March. There is only 4 more weeks of this exhibit. Don't miss it. Diane's lecture, there's still openings, March 14th from 2 to 3. There's a featherweight class this month on the 28th from 9 to noon, and I believe there's still a couple of openings in that. If you have a featherweight, it's a maintenance class. April, I told you already, 4 weeks. April 4th, the exhibit changes. April 4th is the last day for this exhibit, and then we have a new one that opens April 7th, because Easter is April 5th. Sunday we're closed for switching the exhibit. That Friday and Saturday, April 3rd and 4th, we have Sujata Shah, who's teaching a raw edge Kawandi applique class, which is hand stitching. And I believe the classes are from 10 to 4. It's Friday and Saturday. Treat yourself, learn a new technique. If you love hand stitching, or if you've always wanted, this is a great opportunity. She's a great instructor. She's a wonderful human being. You'll love that class. And then Diane's lecture, she has the last in her lecture series, which is on the 18th, 2 to 3. And then we have barn quilting classes with Debbie Simpson, April 25th and 26th, which is in person here. So if you're waiting for the barn quilting classes to come back, they're back. That was a lot. And it's already 9:06. So let's get started. Let's talk about Robin Schwalb. Let's talk about this first. So Renew, Reimagine, let me do that again. Rebound, Renew, Reimagine is our current exhibit. It's Manhattan Quilters Guild out of New York. Isn't that fun? In small town Iowa, in our Iowa Quilt Museum. Love it. They had a quilt challenge to kind of talk about how they dealt with quarantine in New York City, what that was like for them, how the pandemic and reemerging from that pandemic and what that looks like. We had some really personal stories, really personal quilts that talk about a loss of a husband and being isolated and how painful that was. We've had quilts that talk about, I took my work and I reimagined it and redid something new with it. So it's a really lovely exhibit with beautiful works of art. If you can't tell, that's a building, window, reflection. I love that one. I love them all. Anyway, there's 19 of those. We had extra space, so we had 7 quilters send us an extra quilt, and Robin Schwalb is one of them. So on Monday, I do a featured artists of the week or whatever, or featured artist Monday. I don't think I've ever really coined it. But on Monday, I feature one of the 19 artists in here, and I talk about them, and I give you a little detailed photograph of the quilts that are here. And then today, on a Thursday, I talk about that artist, and today is Robin Schwalb's. And these last artists are ones that provided 2 quilts. So these next 3 weeks, besides this week's, which is before, I'll be talking about 1 quilt artist and 2 of their quilts. And then on the very last Thursday before the exhibit leaves, we'll do a recap of everything in here. Enough of that. Robin Schwalb. I got her bio from the Manhattan Quilters Guild. She doesn't have a website, but she has a fantastic Instagram account. If you are on Instagram, I highly recommend going and following Robin Schwalb 1. And it's SCH, Robin, ROBIN, Schwalb, SCHWALB 1. Her posts are just an artist delight, full of color, full of different arts, fiber arts, photography, fabric, clothing. It's just it's eye candy. Go check her out. Go follow her on Instagram. So let's read about her. So this is off of Manhattan Quilters Guild. They said this is what she has for her bio. Language, particularly as found in urban environment, provides a rich source of inspiration for my quilts. The use of written symbols in my work balances an appreciation for their abstract beauty with their desire to include the found art. Why don't I switch you around so you can kind of see what, because this quilt here has words in it. Found art, okay, so let's see. The use of written symbols in my work balances an appreciation of their abstract beauty with their desire to include the found art of relevant texts. However, since the natural tendency to read a text disrupts emotional and intuitive responses to the work, I try to circumvent this in several ways, using individual letters or ideograms from exotic or obsolete languages, using a text decoratively as a repeating pattern in the background by cropping and cropping the text that it becomes illegible. I could say this. Why can't I? Do you ever have that where you see the word written and you can't say it? Illegible. Did I get it? Okay. You can't read it. Or by concealing the text in the quilting stresses and graphic quality for the viewer. Although it is often assumed that I am partial to decorative linguist theory, this isn't so. I find these theories too dry and academic. I'm a visual artist working with a sensual, evocative, and challenging medium of cloth. Well, that was lovely. Okay, so here's this first one. This is called Reveal. What I didn't mention about this exhibit and these 19 quilts in here for Rebound, Renew, Reimagine is that each quilt's title has to start with R-E. And this is Reveal. And you can see the panels are folded open to reveal some street art. So let's talk about this. This is Dimensions 40 by 40, pieced and quilted by Robin Schwalb. Materials and construction techniques used: cotton, over-dyed cotton threads, including metallic braid, embroidery floss, and sashiko thread, machine applique, machine pieced, and hand quilted. Ooh, I just can't wait to take you off and give you a closer look. Let me turn you around a little bit there. Here's the quilt story. The intense mashup of people, architecture, signage, and sights in the city is a continual visual provocation and delight. A quilt is a perfect metaphor for the city, layer upon layer, built up over time. Here, weathered patchwork peels away to reveal even older graffiti. The this word I don't know, palimpsests. I am struggling this morning, of the past peeking through. All right, let's take you off and let's take a closer look, because we could see her hand quilting. You could see the lettering. You know, the other thing I see are, I would say there are Greek keys, which we learned about during Deb Kashat's exhibit. She uses a Greek key in all of them, and it's kind of hard to see from far away. So I'm taking you off the stand. Let's take a look. And I just saw my mom logged in. Hi, Mama. All right, so here's the Greek keys I was talking about that we learned in Deb Kashat's exhibit, her quilts. But you could see, ooh, look at that stitching there. But here, all these dashes, this is her hand quilting. This isn't part of the text. It almost looks like part of the text, but it's not. It's her quilting. You got these fun borders. What I love is it's almost like historical, right? Really vintage old writing to reveal modern looking street art. I love her whimsical, like her little meanders of her quilting here. They meander around, which I think is lovely. That's really fun. Kind of scripty almost, like, right, with the lettering. And then here you've got sharper quilt, just straight lines quilting in the street art. And this vibrant of colors, right? When we think of graffiti, and it's always very vibrant colors, I never can read it. Sometimes I can, but it's, can be really beautiful art. Hopefully that's not somebody calling to tell me they can't hear me. But ignore the phone. But this is Reveal. And I'm gonna read this again to you before we go and take on her next quilt. And I'm gonna have to stumble my way through that word. The intense mashup of people, architecture, signage, and sights in the city is a continual visual provocation and delight. That's not right. Provocation. There we go. And delight. A quilt is a perfect metaphor for the city, layered upon layer, built up over time. Here, weathered patchwork peels away to reveal an even older graffiti. Okay. So fun. It's really lovely. We're gonna go see Lady of the Candied Fruit. Let me put this away. And we're going for a road trip. Nobody get car sick. Here we go. Ooh, rolling around. I think that one's next week, maybe. No, yeah, maybe I'm going to do that one next week. This is Lady of the Candied Fruit. I have a gift shop employee who has a hard time looking at this. She says, it looks so painful. I go, it's a mannequin head. She goes, it doesn't matter. It still looks painful. This is Lady of the Candied Fruit, 29 by 37, quilted by Robin Schwalb. This one is for sale. If you're interested, you can email me and I can let you know. Fabrics, here's materials and construction techniques used. Fabrics, pearl cotton thread, fused, and machine appliqued and hand quilted. Again, which is really fun quilting in there. We'll take a look at it. Here's the quilt story. When I travel, I photograph whatever captures my fancy at the moment. I don't pretend to be anything other than a tourist, but I try to be an observant and culturally respectful one. Once back in my studio, I pulse these images in my mental Cuisinart and collage select details in Photoshop before working the results up in fabric using the standard quilt maker's repertoire of techniques. A snapshot, albeit an odd one, viewed through the prism of my memories of Beijing in December of 2001. Here, a headdress composed of candied hawthorn berries on skewers. She's got the actual name here. I think it's called Tenghulu. Crowns a mannequin's head. She stands in front of an antique wall painted with an ideogram, tear down, indicating that the building is condemned. Oh, that's the circle with the little sign behind her. Oh goodness, tear down, indicating the building is condemned. The Flying Pigeon brand of bicycles was ambiguous then and was a popular way to peddle the candied snacks. Ubiquitous. Boy, I'm learning new words today, you guys. Showing my associate degree education. Okay, let's take you off and let's look at her piecing, because this is all pieced, everybody. Oh, look at this hair. She's got the highlights. She's got the shadows. And then you can see the little X's of the quilting in there. Again, shadows and highlights of the face, the eyebrows, the eyes, even the little catch lights in her eyes, the reflection in her lips, the shadows. It's fun. It's so much work. It's just so much work. Each detail in the candied fruit, right? She outlines the candied fruit. She outlines the tear down sign. She outlines the banner with her stitching, with her quilting here. It's very colorful, very fun, if you could get past the fact that she's got sticks in her head, which apparently Sharita can't. But here's the Flying Pigeon bicycle and the handlebars. And you've got another banner down here. There's her little tag there. Artists are amazing. I love people's brains. The things they come up with. You can't see it in the camera, but this has got a shimmer to it. Just, adds more depth, adds more dimension. The choice in fabric here and the choice in fabric in her lips, gives it more dimension as well. Very fun, very colorful. I love that this is her interpretation of her trip. This is a memory for her, and taking this, you could see the X's here and the quilting in the background with just some gray thread there. So it kind of blends in a little bit. And then I think it's white thread in here on her face and in her hair. But look at that piecing. Layers upon layers to create these shadows and these multi-highlights, right? Lots of fun. Robin Schwalb, everybody. Go check her out on Instagram. She's great, got a great, fun, and colorful Instagram page. Okay. That's it. That's for today. Robin Schwalb, go check her out. You can find her on Manhattan Quilters Guild, again on Instagram, Robin Schwalb 1. I will probably put that on the post. And yeah. One more thing before I go, it's really personal to me. 4 years ago today, Winterset had a tornado go through and we lost 6 people. And I just want to, it's a day of remembrance for us here. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all the people. Iowa is amazing. So many people from all over the state came to help us clean up and help us rebuild and restore. And there is still a family that's still trying to rebuild 4 years later. So the after effects are still being felt. But everybody that helped, everybody that led the way, DOIALA, the chamber where I worked, yeah, that was the first thing I thought of today. So I just wanted to share that with you and put that out there. All right, have a wonderful weekend. 4 more weeks, that's it. And this exhibit's gone. You don't want to miss it. All right, have a great weekend. See you next week.